Before we begin anything off the script related, I have something very important to say, and I would like each and every one of you to help me out in this, because you guys are my family, and you guys are the most important people to me. Without you guys, I'm not even here. I got a text message earlier in the afternoon. I was on Destiny, and I was grinding myself to 930 light on Destiny, which seems to be a struggle in itself. But I was playing, and I get a Facebook message from my best friend's wife. And I looked at the name, and I knew something was wrong because she never reaches out to me in regards to Pete, my best friend. I looked at the message, I opened it immediately because for her to message me, I knew it was something important. And she told me that he's been in the hospital since Friday, and he was suffering from an infection. And the infection had complications. The complications spread to his lungs. He's in ICU. I'm hoping that he can have visitors soon. This is what she told me. She's hoping that when they see him progressing, that hopefully he could have visitors and I could go be with him in this time of need. But he's been in the hospital. He's been in ICU since Friday. And I knew something was wrong because normally with all the hectic wrestling stuff that we've had going on in the last couple of weeks, I didn't hear from him. And that's not out of the ordinary because we could go a couple weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks without saying anything and literally pick up the phone and pick up our conversation right where we left it off 5 weeks ago. But the fact that I didn't hear from him and the fact that I know he listens in when I am ranting and raving on the podcast and I haven't heard from him or I haven't seen him online on PS4 was a little concerning to me. And then I get this. So if you guys are listening to me, please make sure you send your love, your thoughts, and your prayers to my best friend Pete down in the comments below. I've known him since freshman year of high school. We sat right next to each other. Yeah, I sat in front of him and he sat right behind me every single year in homeroom. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, every single year. He was the first one that I sat down next to, and it instantly became one of those things where I knew it was going to be a lifelong friendship. And he is one of the most important people in my life. And the fact that I seen this message today, I'm playing Destiny, and I got tears rolling down my face because God forbid anything happened to someone that I care so much about. And I want you guys to send him your love, your thoughts, and your prayers. And if you're listening to me, bro, I love you, and I hope everything works out, and I hope that you're home resting with the kids, resting with the wife. And as soon as your wife tells me that you are able to get visitors, I will be right there, man. So I love you, and hopefully you're on your way to a quick recovery. I figured I have to talk about this because, and we have so much to talk about. We have Seth Rollins, we got Bray Wyatt, we got Hell in a Cell. My God, man, this is the one podcast I think all month you are going to want to pay attention to. Wait until you get to later in the show when we talk about Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell, what the original idea was for Hell in a Cell. You are going to be even more upset than you were when the show ended on Sunday night. It makes you wonder if Vince McMahon is trying to ruin the company intentionally. It really does make it seem that way. But I want to talk about this first because a lot of people hit me up on social media. Is it real? Is it a work? Is it something that is legit? Is it happening? Why is this happening? How could it be happening? Is this real? I figured it should come from me. And being that it's out in the public, I don't see any reason why I can't talk about it. I am not the biggest rap aficionado. I'm not. But when Master P was announced as the new owner of House of Glory, everything blew up on House of Glory social media, on my social media. People were asking me left and right. I had people personally that I know text me, is this real? Are you now a no-limit soldier? Yeah, man, I don't believe that in 2019, I got to call the final indie appearance by the Young Bucks ever. I got more exposure in House of Glory this year than any other year. And now I am working for Master P. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. I did not ever think when I started 2019. I swear to God, if you told me, if you were standing next to me as the ball dropped to ring in 2019, this guy right here is going to be an employee of Master P in 2019, I would have laughed in your face. And here I am. October 2019, and JD is a no-limit soldier. Yes, it is real. It is real. It's the real deal. It is not a late April Fool's gag. It's real. And I did not know that it was going to be announced the day it was announced. I knew that something was going to be announced later on, whether it be at our November show or our December anniversary show. I knew something was going to be announced. Mick Foley came out on the last show and said that someone has invested a large amount of money into House of Glory. I didn't know who it was. I was going to let everything play out. But when this thing was in the beginning stages, Brian XL, one of the owners of House of Glory, he owns House of Glory with the amazing Red. Red teaches, Brian handles most of the business. Probably all of the business. I don't know where it's going to go now, but we'll see what happens. He's supposed to be meeting with Master P in LA next week. I don't know what this means as far as future goes, but I have an idea from what Brian told me. Brian is somebody that, if you listen to him speak, you can get a clear indication of who he is immediately by listening to him explain anything. I knew that House of Glory was going in a different direction. I was worried about House of Glory going in a different direction because of the changing landscape that is pro wrestling. It is easy to cater to pro wrestling. It's easy to cater to pro wrestling fans. AEW and WWE have a stranglehold on that audience. If, and this is Brian's mentality. Now, I was under the impression that if we give people a wrestling product, that people are going to come. Why would people come to see House of Glory when they could go to an AEW show or a WWE show or an NXT show? We're tapping into that audience, and we are going to be behind the eight ball. We need to do something that's going to differentiate ourselves. Meanwhile, keeping that wrestling essence, the core of everything that we do at House of Glory, is always going to be wrestling. But we need to tap into another market that AEW and WWE have not tapped into. I was worried about this. I really was, because I really didn't understand where he was going with it. But when he finally sat me and a lot of the other students down in the House of Glory Academy, and we went over this, I became super excited about what was happening. The way he visualized everything and the way he laid everything out, it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. We are going to merge pro wrestling and what the heart of the matter is here. Pro wrestling. It's always going to be there. And we're going to merge it. And we're going to tap into the hip-hop lifestyle. A lot of the hip-hop lifestyle is very wrestling-centric. A lot of that audience is big into pro wrestling. Brian brought this to me months before even anything was facilitated. Well before anything was in motion. And I looked at him and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here. I'm with you because I love you and I respect you, but I'm not sure this is going to work. And then when you get to know Brian, you get to work with Brian, and you get to see how he operates, he's like a fucking magician. He's like a magician. He says something, and he's going to make it happen. You can argue with him over it. You could respectfully disagree with him over it. You could bring something else to the table. He is always going to fight for what he believes in here. Always. And when he believes something is so right in here, you cannot talk to that man. You let him do what he has to do. And more times than not. And as far as I've been working here, 2.5 years, every single time, it's batting 1,000. Every single time he felt something in here and went out and did it, even though people were like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. It happened. It happened. Case in point, this. He got Master P, sat down with Master P and everybody affiliated with Master P's team, sat down with them, and he got them to buy into House of Glory. Now, if that's not a dream come true story, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Brian XL facilitated that, and he got it done. We are now owned by Master P. It's real. It's legit. I'm still in shock over the entire announcement made, and to you it might not be a big deal. Some of you guys might love and respect Master P's business mentality. All I've heard all week is that, JD, this is going to be a fantastic thing. Master P is a great business mind, and I hope that he is. I don't have any background on what he's done, but I believe you guys. I believe Brian. And the fact that this is all happening is... I don't really have any words for it. I don't know what to say. But our mentality is, and Brian's mentality is, with House of Glory, I'm not the most religious individual. I am Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I've sat through church and religion class, and I know all the ins and outs. I'm not really that religious of an individual. House of Glory is named after God. It's God's promotion. It's us doing God's work. Brian, like I said, has left everything in God's hands. And when we have seen our best days, and when we've seen our darkest days, Brian has always remained positive. Brian has always remained positive that the Lord is going to guide us to where we need to be. You know, through the glory of God, House of Glory was born. Through the glory of God, we are now where we are today with Master P. And it's a big fucking deal. It is a big deal. And with his mentality like that, and him always being persistent and never giving up, and going out there and believing what is best will happen. I don't know why you wouldn't want to work for somebody like that. I don't know why you wouldn't want to work for somebody like that. I feel so lucky and blessed to be working for someone like that, and the team that he has assembled. I go back and forth with him every single day, almost every single day, about a creative decision, or who do we bring in here? What type of match should we do here? Back and forth on Facebook Messenger with the entire team. He is a miracle worker. And the team that he has assembled and the plans that he has now in place for this is going to be an amazing thing. We're looking at a TV deal. We're looking at national exposure. We're looking at monthly pay-per-views. We're looking at an exclusive talent roster away from AEW and WWE. We're looking at upping everything quality-wise, from cameras to set to stage to lighting. Commentary. I might be getting a new commentary desk. Finally, after 2.5 years, I'm finally getting a commentary desk with an actual cloth. With an actual mic stand, with maybe a maybe not a helmet, but one of those thingamajigs that fucking Michael Cole sits with, the headsets, you know, with the fucking microphone. Everything is being amped up. Everything is being amped up. Talent, exclusive talent that is going to be making special appearances that are going to blow Adam Hangman Page out of the water when he made a special appearance at High Intensity 8 in August during the Private Party and Young Buck match. This is a big deal, and it is legit. And Master P said this in a statement when he actually just let it out to the public. TMZ was filming him. I don't know where he was or where he was coming out of, but TMZ cameras were there, and he said this about House of Glory, and he said Vince McMahon is in trouble because this will be a whole different league, and everybody now, by what he stated, is intrigued. He says this, and I quote, "Our new lifestyle of the elite and wealthy TV show is called Miller's Family Treasures, and we are making history by bringing hip-hop to wrestling. We don't own the NFL, NBA, or MLB, but we do own House of Glory Wrestling, a.k.a. HOG. Join the movement. House of Glory's next event will be on 11/16 in Queens, aptly titled, No Limit. And now, the correlation with why the show was named No Limit, which I have no control over, that's all Brian. Brian named it No Limit, and this announcement was made This is not by coincidence, folks. It's just not out of thin air. There's a reason and a method and a madness to what that man does. It's brilliant. The title of the event seems to be fitting, as Master P's record label is No Limit Records. This is going to be big, guys. I'm super excited. You can laugh at it all you want. You can make fun of it all you want. You could tweet out that I should be terminated from my position, which is not going to happen. This is a big deal, and I'm super excited. It is real, it is happening, and it's starting in November. And it's going to bleed on into December. And if Brian's plans come to fruition, going on into 2020, and we get on into WrestleMania, we're not going to be in Queens anymore. We're not going to be just stuck in Queens. That's all I'm saying. You might be seeing us in other bigger venues in New York City, and other bigger venues up and down the East Coast. This is a big deal. And for the first time in my life, I can honestly say that all of the prayer and all of the love and all the hard work and everything that has gone into making House of Glory what it is today, with talent around the industry, living and dying by what Red has taught them, everything is coming to be. I feel like the most luckiest guy in the world to be sitting in that commentary chair every single month, doing what I do. It's going to be a big deal. And I can't wait to share it with all of you guys. And I'm so happy for my team. The House of Glory team works so vigorously and so hard at everything from Big Hodge to David to Dean, Brian, Red, and all the talent. Main event, you got the New York Wrecking Crew. You got Cashflow Ken Broadway, Matt Travis, Montekia. You know, everybody. Violet, Sonia Strong. Everybody. Charles Mason is another one. Look out for Charles Mason. My God. Nolo Catano. These are names that you're going to be listening to and hearing on podcasts. You're going to be listening to them all across New York radio. You're going to be hearing them on Sirius. You're going to be hearing about them in the news. For all we know that, you know, all the talent that comes out of House of Glory, they could eventually move on from House of Glory, use that as their building a resume for themselves and a foundation for themselves to move on to a bigger stage. It's all going to start in House of Glory. And I could not be more excited about seeing the growth and the nurturing process of the talent just move through the ranks and where they want to be and where they would love to be. And all the hard work that everybody puts into this thing every single week. It's all paying off. And I can't wait to share it with you guys, and it's going to be a big deal. And who knows, man? I don't know what this means for Off the Script. I don't know what it means for me. I might be doing a House of Glory podcast. I might be doing something a little bit bigger than just YouTube. I might be setting myself up through my hard work and my dedication and my love for this business. Hopefully something happens to me where I could start moving up as well. And I'm glad that you guys are with me for the entire ride, because I've always said, I'm just getting started, man. This YouTube thing is just my day-to-day activity. I am not even 1 foot in the door yet of where I want to be. We're not even at the tip of the iceberg. And if my dreams and my aspirations and my desires that I know are going to come true, it's all about timing. When the Lord is ready for me to take that next step and bless me with something that is going to set myself up for a better future, I'll be ready. Because I have you guys, I have this, and I have all of everything that I built right here. And I got my House of Glory family that I love so much. I can't even begin to tell you how lucky I am to be with that group of people, watching this thing grow and watching this thing get to where we all knew it could be. It's going to be exciting. I'll let you guys in on a little bit more when I have all the information in front of me. But House of Glory, man, keep an eye on it. But keep an eye on Off the Script, too, because we are going to talk about Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. We're going to talk about the ending that should have been at Hell in a Cell. And let me tell you something, man. It's going to piss you off even more so after what you seen Sunday night at the pay-per-view. This is episode 295. This is Off the Script. We'll hit the intro. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Delete! This is mine.
Thank you guys so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 295, part number 1 for your Saturday, October 12th, 2019. And I got so much news that it's going to make your head explode, man. I got so much news. I got news on Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell, Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar, the ratings, Sasha Banks. Everybody wants to know about Sasha Banks. I got the in with Sasha Banks. I got the news. I got the real news. The news that you're not going to hear anywhere else. So much to go over right here on the podcast, and I'm not going to waste too much of your time. If you guys missed anything on the channel, make sure you guys go and check it out. That includes last weekend's Off the Script, Monday Night Raw, Off the Script Elite on Tuesday, which is now the number one place for all your AEW news and rumors during the week. You got to go check that out. Thank you guys so much for all the support on that. That did better than the actual Off the Script that I do on Saturday and Sunday. So we got OTS Elite. We got AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. We got NXT on Thursday. SmackDown on Friday. So if you guys missed any of this content, which I know is a lot, but keep it in a safe place. Keep it under your sleeve. Pull it out when you really need something to be entertained by. If your baseball team sucks like my team does, and they got eliminated from the playoffs, and you need something to cheer you up, there you go. You got your Off the Script card right there. Which I don't even want to talk about baseball, and I'm probably going to mention it somewhere in this podcast anyway, because they are awful. This team right here is awful. I don't know what happened, and I will never get excited about anything they do playoff related until they get out of the NLDS. And I hope the Cardinals drop dead. Congratulations to the Cardinal fans. I have no problem with you guys. I just hate that team. And I feel like something was rigged somewhere. I really do. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that game ended the way it did. There's no way. And I mean ended. That series ended the way that it did. 11 runs in the first inning? Really? All it took was Freddie Freeman to not make an error, and the score would have been 1-0 after one inning. Not 11-0 after one inning. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I swear to God, I did not even turn the game on. I was sitting right here playing Destiny. I was doing some moon mission, and I'm collecting materials and shards and all this other shit. And I look at my phone with the MLB app. All right, it's 2-0. Should I get up and go watch the game? They're already losing, so what am I rushing to the TV for? And then I'm playing, and then I look after 15 minutes goes by, and it's like 11-0. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even turning the game on. The Braves beat themselves. In this year's playoff. Now, I don't know how you guys are into the whole sports are rigged type deal. Something was messed up. I knew something was just very fishy and very funny during this entire thing. Not only did the Braves beat themselves in Game 4, which this series should have never even gone to a Game 5 because they left bases loaded. Not once, but twice back-to-back innings. And then they let Molina get a little blooper to win the game. Then it goes to a Game 5, but it's unbelievable how Freddie Freeman just died in this series. How people want to blast Ronald Acuna Jr. when he was the only player in this fucking series that hit. And then Brian Snicker, who made bad call after bad call after bad call as far as his coaching abilities. Then you got the narrative of Molina. The commentary team for this series was sucking Molina's cock like if he was Derek Jeter. I don't know what happened, but they pushed that narrative during the series. Then, Game 5, the Braves fans inside that arena, inside SunTrust Field, could not do the tomahawk chop. Because I don't know who it was on the St. Louis Cardinals that wrote a written statement about how disrespectful the tomahawk chop is to his heritage. Blow me. This is one of the best parts about going to an Atlanta Braves game. And then you want to take it away? What do you think that does to the overall morale of the entire fucking people that are sitting there? And I am ranting about it. Why? If they don't sign Josh Donaldson, if they don't get rid of Brian Snicker, if they don't get rid of Julio Teheran, get rid of them. Get rid of these guys. You need a frontline starter that isn't fucking Keuchel. You need a frontline starter that's going to be fucking there when you need him, like a fucking pillow, like a cool pillow at the end of the night, and you know it's going to fucking just ease you into a nice sleep. But in this case, the pitcher's going to bring you to a W. They got to get a bullpen. They need a fucking closer. They need so much. The foundation is there. The foundation is how you win 97 games all year and you don't get to the NLCS. How the Dodgers win 100 games. That's another thing. The Dodgers won 100 games and both of these teams are eliminated. How? It's like they're making it easy for the Yankees to win the World Series. I'm done ranting. Go check out the shit down below in the comments. Not the comments, the description, please. Go check out the videos down in the description if you missed any of that shit. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys can do that as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. It's a great way to show your appreciation for all the content that's going out there. You guys get the early access to the audio shit. I know I was a little late with it this week, but man, I am sleep deprived and I apologize for that, but it's all up there. You guys got a nice little extra podcast coming on there whenever I get the time. So look forward to that. It's coming within the next week or so. It's going to be a good deal on Patreon, so make sure you guys check all of that stuff out as well. Today's podcast is brought to you, there you go. The Ridge is back. Now, hopefully we could get Monday Night Raw back to being a good show via the draft. TheRidge.com/script. You guys know the deal with The Ridge. Make sure you guys hit them up. They're going to make your life simple. And that's the way The Ridge operates, man. Simple. The Ridge helps you carry what you need every day. From streamlining how you carry cash and cards in their flagship Ridge wallet to their portable charging commuter backpack, they want to make the most out of what you are bringing with you every single day. I have the Ridge wallet and I've had it for 6 months. I love how stylish it is. I love the feel of the titanium model that I have. I love the fact and the assurance of the RFID blocking qualities where my information and my cards are safe. And I love that it doesn't resemble my old wallet in any way. It doesn't bend, it doesn't fold, it doesn't rip. It is durable, and that's what I'm looking for. And the best part of it all, when I pull that wallet out, anywhere I go, I could be sitting at a bar, I could be out to dinner, I could be at the deli ordering a sandwich. When I pull out my Ridge wallet, I feel like I have the best looking wallet in the entire place. The Ridge is so confident that you'll enjoy the product that they've made it as simple as possible. Free shipping so that you can get it fast. Free returns in case you don't like it. And if you do, there's a lifetime warranty. There's 30,000 5-star reviews, so they've got you covered on that as well. A lot of people have the Ridge, and a lot of people are happy with the Ridge wallet. So that is something that you can be confident about when you're making your purchase. The Ridge is also super durable, from military-grade materials like the titanium, like I have, to the carbon fiber. It's proven to be bulletproof, waterproof, and yes, chainsaw proof. Guys, go to ridge.com/script. Get yourself 10% off. Hook yourself up with a quality wallet that's going to do everything that you've ever asked for. Ridge.com/script. Might as well start at the top, man. The ratings. The ratings are in. I got ratings for AEW, NXT, SmackDown, and that other show on Monday night, which I will not name here because it's quite the embarrassment. And every time I mention it, I get a weird rash on my right side. I don't want any weird rashes because I mentioned that garbage show on Monday night. The one thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because this was expected. The one thing that I just don't get, and the one thing that just boggles my mind, is these WWE apologists, these WWE elitists. WWE can do no wrong. These are the same people that defend the product every Monday. Oh, Bobby Lashley and Lana, this is where they gotta go because it's entertaining. They're in the entertainment field. Meanwhile, the clip from this garbage storyline gets like 9 million views on YouTube, and they think this is 9 million views, so it's gotta mean it's a good storyline. No, that doesn't mean it's a good storyline. That means that there's 9 million people out there that are fucking brain dead. That's what that means. I don't understand these elitists and these apologists. AEW seen a decline. So did NXT this week, which was to be expected. There was 2 Game 5 MLB playoff games. even without the playoff games, there was going to be a decline. You either tuned in on week 1 to see what all the hype was about, and you gave them your undivided attention, and you decided to come back in week 2 and not watch. Maybe you wanted to watch something else. Maybe you wanted to take the wife out to dinner. Maybe you wanted to do something on your own and play some Destiny. Maybe you wanted to hang out with the kids. I don't know. Maybe you just had the show on DVR and you decided not to watch wrestling on Wednesday night because you were burned out from how garbage SmackDown was and how garbage Hell in a Cell was and how garbage Monday Night Raw was. That is also a plausible deciding factor as well. But we all told you, every single person on this platform that does what I do in every single podcast that you have downloaded on your phone that is in the wrestling genre, told you that there was going to be a decline. So why are you out here bragging that AEW seen a decline when we all told you as a community that this was going to happen? Yes, a decrease is bad. A decrease is bad for WWE because they should be the one who is realistically putting on the better of the two products against an upstart company who are established in NXT. They should be increasing. WWE is putting out a product that is failing against AEW. That's the one thing people aren't really talking about. NXT is failing against AEW, and they will continue to fail against AEW because nothing that NXT does is going to match the star power that AEW has. This was a given. And again, I'm going to reiterate myself. You ex Triple H in a locker room away from cameras, and you take it to the fucking vault. You ask him if he wants to go to war with AEW on Wednesday night. He'd probably say no. I wish I was back on the USA Network or a WWE Network away from the USA Network at 1 hour. He don't want any of this. He doesn't want any of this. The entire operation of NXT has drastically changed, and now they're put in a position where they're losing against AEW, and that's all people are talking about. They're not talking about, oh, it's a great show, oh, this storyline, oh, Champ is back, oh, this and that, oh, TakeOver. Oh, Triple H doing a great job. Oh, look at the creative writing team on NXT. Look at the storylines that we got. I can't wait. They're talking about the ratings. They're talking about, oh, NXT lost to AEW. And that's it. And then they break down segments comparing each show. Why? Why are you out there comparing shows? Why are you out there bragging that AEW dropped in ratings? This was a given. And against a playoff Game 5 with all 4 teams in the National League, you're going to tell me that AEW is going to close up shop because of stiff competition from MLB baseball. That is a huge deciding factor. On top of that, I don't think these cretins realized that AEW in certain markets on TNT was preempted. They had to be moved to True TV. Who gets True TV? I don't. Thank God it wasn't preempted in my market. People are so ridiculous. These WWE apologists and elitists. They go out there and they hype up the product even though it's fucking miserable, and they brag when AEW does something shitty or does something as far as a ratings decrease. They're like Dr. Claw sitting in the corner petting their fucking cat, laughing. Ha 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 ha. AEW failed. They decreased ratings. What is it to you? What is it to you? Are you going to sleep better at night knowing that AEW decreased in the ratings? Are you betting on a certain number of fucking discrepancies from week to week? I don't get it. I just genuinely don't understand it. And then people think that I'm negative. But I sit here every week and I watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, and then people make fun of me for making fun of the show and shitting on the show when we all know it's complete garbage. Garbage. Monday Night Raw seen a decrease. This is one of the things that these apologists would say, well, Monday Night Raw did the same thing. They drew a 2.8 for the season premiere, and they got a 2.3. So don't lump Monday Night Raw into this. That's the same as AEW's season premiere or debut on TNT. No, it's not. No, it's not. AEW has only been on TV for 2 weeks. Monday Night Raw's been on TV for 27 years. We all know that it's garbage. WWE treats their fans like a bunch of idiots. WWE hypes up their audience to expect something to happen, and then they don't deliver. So them dropping from a 2.8, 2.9, all the way down to a 2.2, like usual, is not really all that bizarre. Because that's typical WWE. They get you up here, and then they disappoint you, and they drive you away because they don't appreciate you. They don't like you. They downright hate you. So AEW was a 1.1 this week. After everything was rounded up, you could probably say at the end of the week, AEW is a 1.1. It's a big decrease. I wouldn't say a big decrease, but a decrease nonetheless from a 1.4 who tuned in for their debut episode. NXT brought in 845,000 viewers last week. This week they brought in 790,000 viewers. And again, AEW was preempted on TNT in certain markets, moved to True TV, and then back to TNT when the baseball playoff game was over. NXT, and I mentioned this several times, I guarantee you get Triple H behind a closed door and you ask him what he really feels about this. I guarantee you he would want to be back on the WWE Network at 1 hour and not want to go to battle against AEW. There's no way that NXT is winning this war. There's no way. After the show that they put on last week, after they dropped from the week prior to that, and again this week they dropped from last week, I don't really see them beating AEW in this war. I don't. I think AEW will be at or around 1 million viewers every single week, and after this month, which I want people to really pay attention to, then that's when we can get a clearer picture about where both are going to be as far as ratings go. But I don't think that AEW is going to lose a single week to NXT. And if they do, I would be shocked. I really would be shocked. So we'll see what happens. Let things play out. It's week 2. NXT, honestly, in my eyes, is always a great show. So it was no different this past Wednesday. AEW, in my eyes, I thought was a better show than week 1. And they got you excited about week 3. NXT does the same thing. I'm always excited about NXT, but this is nothing that is new to any of us. We expect this from NXT. So the reason why people aren't watching NXT is really bizarre to me. I really don't understand it. But either way you look at it, people are going to compare, people are going to break down, people are going to analyze, people are going to compare segment by segment what happened on these shows. I see some people on social media just stupidly watching both shows on a laptop or an iPad and then a TV screen. How could you do that? How could you do that? Why would you do that? I don't get the big deal. It's watch one, DVR the other. That's what I do. I watch one, I work on one, I DVR the other, I watch it, and then I do what I do the next day. And I don't give a shit about the ratings. I don't. I only talk about it because it's newsworthy. I'm not sitting here praising AEW. Yes! Let's wave the flag of AEW. Then I'm a cocksucker. Oh, JD's trying to get a job with AEW. No, I'm not. I was never trying to get a job with AEW. I'll get a job with AEW when my talent and my passion and ability and hard work pays off. That's when I'll get a job with AEW. So, I don't understand why I can't talk about AEW. If I do, I'm a fucking AEW cocksucker. I'm on the AEW payroll, right? Then if I say something about WWE that's actually good, oh, look at this, JD wants to get hired by WWE. I can't win. I can't win in this community. And neither can anybody else. It's just, you look at the wrestling community and it makes you go stupid. It really does. So the ratings are in for AEW. The ratings are in for SmackDown. They did a 3.9 rating. 3.9 million viewers, with the second hour dropping slightly to 3.8. Solid start for SmackDown Live. But how many of those people tuned in to see The Rock and then the rest of the show? How many of you tuned in to see The Rock and then fuck the rest of the show? I think a lot of you. Did. Now, is this rating going to be the same thing this Friday? Probably not. By the time this comes out, I'm sure the rating will be down from a 3.9. Now, the draft is going to get a good rating. The draft is going to give WWE a solid rating. I don't think it's going to be 3.9. If it's 3.9 or greater, I would be shocked. But this is another instance in where WWE peaked and they'll be down. Either way you look at it, in some way, shape, or form, they will be down from last week's show. The premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox peaked at 4.2 from 8 to 8:15. So that was when The Rock was on. Because they started with The Rock, and that was where everybody tuned in. The average of the first hour for SmackDown was still very good with 3.9 million viewers, but they probably would have been able to hold a lot more of them if the Rock segment was pushed to later on in the show. It is interesting that the second hour dipped slightly considering the WWE title match that the company had in store with Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar. Perhaps once some viewers saw The Rock, they said goodbye to the rest of the show, and that's all they needed to see. So it's going to be interesting to see what WWE does this week with the draft on SmackDown, starting on SmackDown, and we'll see what happens. They didn't really build towards Hell in a Cell on that show. They gave you shit that really didn't make any sense. It was nothing more than a showcase. WWE really didn't want to dive into anything too serious because they did have a draft coming up. Again, it's going to be one of those situations like AEW and NXT where you're going to look at the ratings at the end of the month and you're going to get a solid just foundation for where the SmackDown ratings are going to be. SmackDown's going to be the A show, and the ratings are going to reflect that. Monday Night Raw is going to be the C show, because NXT to me is always the A show. But the main roster shows, as far as main roster shows go, SmackDown's going to be over Raw. Raw is going to be Paul Heyman's, hopefully, and Vince is going to put all of his effort, time, and love into SmackDown Live because he has to. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting situation as far as the ratings go, and what happens with Monday Night Raw coming out of the draft. So WWE pulled nearly 4 million viewers for each hour of their Friday night SmackDown premiere on Fox. Fox and Dish Network have been negotiating in a big way. This also pertains to Sling, if you guys have Sling, the TV service. And that service is under the Dish umbrella as well. Fox pulled their networks from Dish, meaning 12 million customers did not have access to the Fox SmackDown debut. WWE sent out email blasts and on their social media as well to encourage fans to get Fox back on the Dish Network and Sling. It looks like something worked because The Wrap reports that Fox is now back on direct TV. So that could be a direct influence on a ratings bump up this week with the draft on Friday Night SmackDown. They've been blacked out since September 26th, but the customer demand obviously paid off. Now, WWE might see a bump, like I said, in the ratings from those 12 million homes that now have access to the show when it was unavailable last week. So there you go as far as that. SmackDown, I'm very interested to see what they do with the draft. I'm reporting this before I get to Friday. This is Thursday night. I'm recording this podcast, so by the time this is up on Saturday, the draft will have happened. So we'll talk about that sometime next week. And everything that comes out of the draft, we'll talk about it on SmackDown and then on into Monday Night Raw. But SmackDown with the draft should remain constant in the ratings. I don't think they'll be hovering around that 4. I think they'll come in around 3.5. So we'll see what happens with that. The Raw ratings for this week see a big decline, which is to no surprise of anybody. According to Show Buzz Daily, this week's episode of Monday Night Raw tuned in a 2.3 rating. That's a significant drop from the 2.571 million that watched the season premiere last week. Although the October 7th episode brought in higher viewership than the September 9, 16, and 23 episodes of Raw, it was extremely low compared to the other episodes that followed a pay-per-view show. For example, the August 12th episode of Raw that followed SummerSlam brought in 2.729 million viewers. The July 15th edition of Raw that took place one night after Extreme Rules brought in a 2.453 million viewership. The April 8th episode that followed WrestleMania had a 2.923 million viewership for that particular episode of Monday Night Raw. But I am not surprised that the season premiere failed. It failed in many more ways than one. A 2.5 rating isn't even all that significant. But 2.2, 2.3 is right back to where WWE is with Monday Night Raw anyway. So no matter what they did, and these are the WWE apologists, they look at this Lana and Bobby Lashley storyline. Oh, but it drew 8 million, 9 million viewers on YouTube. Yeah, that's 8, 9 million fucking idiots out there. That doesn't translate into ratings. Getting Tyson Fury on Monday Night Raw doesn't translate into ratings. Getting Cain Velasquez on SmackDown doesn't translate to ratings. How many people knew who Cain Velasquez was in the audience when he came out? How many people knew it was Cain Velasquez? So why are you banking on this to generate a rating when realistically they're not? It's getting you ESPN and this and fucking Bleacher Report and all this other shit. ABC News and fucking Good Morning America, whatever. It's getting you the buzz, and I understand why they're doing it, but it's not translating to ratings. You're just coming off as desperate, and you're coming off as someone who was in dire needs to fit in, like you're the fucking outcast. Oh, we have to fit in with the sports. That's the way they're coming off. And it's sad, because I don't know if you guys are into this type of thing. You might very well be. I know that there are people out there that look at Cain Velasquez and be like, oh, I don't give a fuck about the WWE product. I haven't watched in 7 years. But now Cain Velasquez is on TV. I love the UFC. I'm going to watch Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. Or I love Tyson Fury. I haven't watched WWE in 3 years, but I know who Tyson Fury is. I love watching Tyson Fury box. I'm interested to see what he does in Saudi Arabia against Braun Strowman. So I understand why they're doing it. But, man, is it so desperate. It is so desperate for ratings. I think it sucks. I honestly think it sucks. This is not Mike Tyson and Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is not Mike Tyson being involved in Austin Michaels. It's not. This is just a poor man's take on trying to recreate something, and it came off absolutely miserable. That segment with Tyson Fury was so garbage. So garbage. Cain Velasquez is another story, and we're going to lead into that. Cain Velasquez is not signed to the WWE. He's not signed to the WWE, which is ridiculous because he could realistically agree to a one-time thing here with WWE and then go and show up in AEW whenever he wants. It's ridiculous. He's not signed yet to the WWE. Speaking with ESPN, Velasquez said, "We've talked a little bit back and forth and nothing happened. They wanted to see my development. I think they are pleased with what I'm doing now." He also added that pro wrestling is now much his focus going forward. "This is definitely my focus. My family is into it. They love it. They're super excited. I haven't seen them excited over something like this in a while. It's cool." MMA Junkie reports that Velasquez did get the okay from UFC to appear on SmackDown on Friday night, and he has informed them that he intends to be pulled from the USADA testing pool. As noted, it's being reported that Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar is scheduled for Crown Jewel and is in fact planned to main event that show. WWE is having a press conference on Friday. As I said before, I'm recording this on Thursday, so by the time you guys see this, I'm sure the main event will have been announced already because they're doing a press conference with Strowman, Velasquez, Fury, and Lesnar. And Triple H is going to be there as well, I think, moderating the whole thing. All those matches that I just mentioned, those two matches, will be announced for Saudi Arabia and Crown Jewel. Now, Dave Meltzer revealed on the Wrestling Observer Radio that there were a lot of snags in bringing in Velasquez to the WWE. At one point, Vince McMahon was upset that the news broke that they were talking to Velasquez, so they pulled the initial offer that they had made to him. In fact, he hasn't even signed a contract yet. Meltzer says this, and I quote, "There was so much stuff that went on with Cain and everything, including negotiations and having snags. At one point, WWE actually pulled the offer from him because they were mad that it got out with all the information going around, and that was among the craziest of things that happened with this entire situation." And yes, because it's like Cain Velasquez's fault that the fucking news got out there that he was talking to the WWE. Yes, let's blame Cain Velasquez. Let's pull the offer from Cain Velasquez because news got out about that. We're talking to Cain Velasquez. Are you serious? Are you serious? Man, this company's got a little fucking issue mentally. Cain Velasquez says he has not signed a WWE contract just yet. Meltzer reported that WWE has said that Cain is signed. With that being said, WWE pulled the offer from Cain on Monday, and they're still running the angle going on into SmackDown Live and then into this press conference on Friday afternoon. Now, it is set for Crown Jewel. Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that Lesnar versus Velasquez is as official can be. This won't be just a meeting between two former UFC champions because there will be a title on the line as well. Lesnar is expected to not only face Cain Velasquez, but Brock Lesnar will also put his newly won WWE Championship on the line. This is a very interesting turn of events because WWE just doesn't debut someone into a world title match all that often. It is unclear how many dates Velasquez has signed to do with WWE. It was noted that however many dates Velasquez is signed on, he will obviously make a difference in the match result, being that it's all unknown. Nobody knows how much he signed for. Nobody knows how many dates he signed. So obviously this will play into the difference in the match result. Meltzer discussed Cain Velasquez's big WWE debut during Wrestling Observer Radio. Daniel Cormier is a man who seems destined for WWE eventually, whether that is a in-ring performer, which I doubt, or a commentary role, which I did report way back when, that when he retired from UFC, Fox wanted to bring in Cormier to be an analyst for WWE, and Cormier is a big WWE guy. So Cormier is a man who who seems destined for WWE eventually. He has one fight to get out of the way, but Velasquez's entry into WWE could open the door for Daniel Cormier in a big way. Meltzer says this, and I quote, "You go with 2 Cain matches, and when he wins the second one, Cormier runs in, then you go with Brock and Cormier." I could absolutely see that happening, and Brock and Cormier would be a really big match, because the one thing we know is that Cormier can cut a promo, and I don't know that Cormier would be a better wrestler than Cain, but Cormier has enough moves that he could do with Brock and make it a great match, and it would be just fine. I could absolutely see that. You've got a whole year of Brock at this moment, end quote. It was said that Cormier versus Stipe would happen in UFC by WrestleMania next year. This could open up a WrestleMania appearance for Daniel Cormier in WWE. We'll just have to wait and see what WWE's plans are, but it looks like Brock Lesnar could have some big money matches. Not with anybody in the WWE, because he's beaten everybody. And who else is left outside of Matt Riddle for Brock Lesnar that would be legit? I could see Aleister Black. I could see Bray Wyatt for sure. But is WWE going to want to do these matches? Especially when you got the likes of Cain Velasquez and you got Daniel Cormier being rumored now. It's just, I don't like it. I really don't like it. It's not pro wrestling at that point. It really isn't. I don't give a shit about bringing in UFC guys, because the mentality that I have is, yes, I know why they're doing it, and I know the business mentality and the business mindset of WWE to be doing this type of thing, but you're bringing in talent and you're bringing in athletes from another sport that have not one iota of a clue what to do in a pro wrestling ring. You know, you might have a wrestling background and you might be, a UFC guy, and you might have some of that wrestling background ingrained in what you do in the UFC, but being a professional wrestler is completely different than being a UFC guy. You're not going to just take what you know wrestling-wise in a UFC environment and come to the WWE and be a great professional wrestler. You're not going to do that. It's 2 different worlds. And my mentality is, and the way I think is, yes, I know why WWE's doing it, and they come off desperate for attention. They're looking for acceptance because of how many years they've been irrelevant. They're looking for any type of relevancy in 2019 going on into 2020, because they know they are not nearly as popular as they're making themselves out to be. So they're going out there and getting these guys who they know are popular, who are just leagues above where they are in their sport, coming on into the WWE. They want that feedback. They want that rub from another sport. And it sucks because you got all this talent in WWE that you've neglected and you continue to neglect. And now, not only that you're neglecting the talent because you're pushing your favorites within the company, talent is being neglected and singing in catering because you're pushing your favorites. You got your upper elite talent that's being pushed on TV. Some of the talent that's not being seen on television, they're waiting for an opportunity. Now they're being pushed back another step because now the main event scene, instead of working from within to get someone in your company that is ready to go in the main event, you're bringing in somebody from another sport and placing them in the main event scene just because of their name value and what they bring to a headline or an ESPN article or a Bleacher Report article or something. It's not fair. It's not fair. And again, I don't know how well Cain Velasquez is going to translate into a pro wrestling environment. I don't know how well Daniel Cormier is going to translate into a pro wrestling environment. This is not, let's pick this up and go do it. It's not that easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I don't understand what the mentality is with this company. They want headlines and they want this cry for attention. You can't be someone who is not a professional wrestler, just come on in and be placed in a WWE title match. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't. Ronda Rousey, she didn't have any wrestling experience before signing with the WWE. She went through rigorous training, and she had one of the best debuts that anybody has ever had at WrestleMania. Everybody said that was the best match of the night. Rousey and Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And you know what? It was the most entertaining match of the night. Ronda Rousey went on to have one of the best rookie years in WWE history. I wouldn't say it was Brock Lesnar-like. I wouldn't say it was anywhere near a Kurt Angle-like. But it was up there. And Ronda Rousey exceeded everybody's expectations. Whether you like her or not, you have to admit that the woman did extraordinary things. Matt Riddle's another one. He's been doing this for 3 years, and look at how great he is. He's a former MMA fighter. Look at how he picked up and learned the art of wrestling. You put Matt Riddle in a ring with anybody, and it's going down as a classic. The guy knows what he does. The guy knows what he is capable of. You look at Ken Shamrock. You look at Ken Shamrock when he was in the WWE. Look at what he accomplished from a UFC background. Look at what he did. You can't be a Ken Shamrock. You can't be a Ronda Rousey. You can't be a Matt Riddle. You got to go through the rigorous training to be a WWE superstar. Saudi Arabia could end up being a bigger disaster this November than it was for Goldberg and The Undertaker. Saudi Arabia seems to be the destination of wrestling events where talent goes to botch and ruin their careers and make themselves an embarrassment. I can't see Cain Velasquez going into Saudi Arabia and producing a good match with Brock Lesnar. How much can the man realistically do? Did you see the knee brace he had on him when he came out to take down Brock Lesnar? What is the man going to be able to do in a ring with Brock Lesnar? Seriously. And I don't even want to talk about Daniel Cormier because he's just brought up by Meltzer as a possibility because of Cain Velasquez opening the door for guys like Daniel Cormier. But what is Cain Velasquez going to do in a match against Brock Lesnar? Seriously. I don't expect anything much. Now, look at the outcome of that match. A, it's predictable. Do you think WWE is going to give the title to Cain Velasquez, who, A, is not even signed to a long-term deal? Nobody knows how long he's signed for. He's hurt, and more than likely is going to need surgery. Nobody knows how long he's going to be out. Why would you give the title to Brock to put it on Cain, who's going to go out because of surgery? So the match is nothing more than a headline grabber for the sake of being a headline grabber. That's all they want. There's no title on the line here. The title's going to be on the line, but realistically, the title's not going to be in jeopardy here in Saudi Arabia. And what does that mean for Brock Lesnar? Nobody's talking about the fact that Cain Velasquez legitimately beat Brock Lesnar in an MMA fight. Legitimately testing Lesnar's skills against Velasquez's skills in real life. Now you're putting them in a ring together. A WWE ring, not an octagon. And the outcome is going to be predetermined. Now, I don't know what Brock Lesnar cares about. Maybe he just cares about making a major payday. Maybe that's all he cares about. And maybe he doesn't care about the legacy and the legitimacy of what's going on here with somebody who legitimately beat him in an octagon. But if I'm Brock Lesnar, don't you think that's going to ruffle some feathers on the inside and make you think, I could really beat this guy in real life? Now I'm here in a predetermined match with a predetermined outcome, and I'm going to get my victory back. And people are going to laugh at me. You don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be under scrutiny on social media? Oh, Lesnar couldn't hack it in the UFC, and now he's getting his win back over Cain Velasquez, a real fighter, in the WWE, in a fake sport. You don't think that's coming? Because it certainly is. It's already being talked about. So, I don't know what good this does. I don't know what you're going to get out of Cain Velasquez. I don't know why you just don't wait. It's amazing to me how people don't correlate this with the AEW effect. The only reason why Cain Velasquez is with the WWE right now, and nobody knows if he signed the contract or not, nobody knows how long he's going to be there or how many dates he's going to wrestle, they got him away from any wrestling promotion because they didn't want him going to AEW. And look at WWE, instead of letting Cain go and get in shape, because you know Vince McMahon's looking at Cain Velasquez, he's looking at him, you know, you got to look like Brock Lesnar. Why don't you look like a Greek god like Brock Lesnar? You know? Jericho even said Cain Velasquez got a dad bod. So instead of waiting and having him get in shape and get a little bit more cut and get the surgery, instead of waiting, they're doing the match now because, and I know this to be fact, I don't have an in. I don't know anything about what they're thinking. Yes, they want the headlines. Yes, they want all the mainstream attention. I know why they're doing it. They seem desperate. But WWE, with this move, is secretly telling you, without actually blatantly telling you, that these Saudi shows are a fucking waste, and they would rather waste the Saudi shows on gimmick matches like this. These cheap inter-promotional, inter-sport matches with the WWE. They'd rather have these matches happen here than put their real talent on the show and just get with it, get over with it, and just move on to the next show. because they know these shows suck. They know. The feedback is there. Everyone says the same thing about these shows. They fucking suck. So WWE's putting this out there, and they're making a big deal about it. Well, they want people to care about it is another reason. WWE wants people to care about these shows because they know that when they go to Saudi, this is nothing more than a glorified house show, no matter how much they brag. Oh, it's bigger or equivalent to WrestleMania. So WWE's trying to get you to watch by doing something out of the box and including a boxer and a UFC fighter mixed in with the pro wrestling world. They want you to watch. I don't think none of it's going to work. And it may end up backfiring in WWE's eyes. And you know what? I hope it does. None of this interests me at all. None of it. None of it. I don't know what Cain Velasquez is going to do with Brock Lesnar, but he does need surgery. He does need surgery. It could hinder WWE plans. Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that Cain Velasquez needs knee surgery. This means WrestleMania plans could be up in the air, depending on how much of his knee needs to be worked on. They could do Cain at WrestleMania versus Brock Lesnar and wait. You know, do the one-on-one. Cain needs the surgery. He gets the surgery, comes back. But if Cain gets the surgery, I'm not sure he's coming back. Or if he's going to get a full reconstructive surgery on that knee. Let's say he gets it in November. He's missing Mania for sure. Not even a chance he'll show up at WrestleMania. Maybe he can get a minor surgery and be back. Maybe. End quote. Cain Velasquez might only be coming to the WWE for this one match. He may get the surgery and go venture off into another wrestling promotion. We don't know. Like I mentioned, he could do this one-time deal, make some money, get the surgery, go to AEW. I don't know. It could put him out of commission for enough time that WWE will simply have to figure something else out to do. At this point, it seems like it's a waiting game, and a lot of it depends on how major of a surgery Cain Velasquez needs to undergo. In fact, even though he's injured and the match quality is probably going to be piss poor, I would rather this match happen now, get it over with, instead of having it happen at WrestleMania. Get it over with now. And if Lesnar is still the champion going into WrestleMania, which seems to be a probability, I wish WWE would venture down the idea of drafting Matt Riddle to SmackDown Live and building Matt Riddle versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. That's what I would do. In fact, I think that's brilliant. Have Matt Riddle drafted to SmackDown from NXT. Have Matt Riddle win the Royal Rumble. And have Matt Riddle go on to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Wins the Royal Rumble, wins the WWE Championship, and you have someone just as legit, if not more legit, than Brock Lesnar as your WWE Champion. And the cherry on top of the cake, he'll be a full-time guy. I think that's great. So, I don't know what WWE's plan is. More than likely, we're going to get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania again, and then we'll all collectively vomit at the end of WrestleMania. I think that's fucking terrible. I thank God. If WWE does that, I swear to God, I hope the fucking gods open up the skies. And I swear to God, I hope it ruins every bit of WrestleMania. I really do. That is just absolute stupidity if they think about doing that. Riddle is the man. What else is there for Riddle to do in NXT? Nothing. He wasn't on this show. He lost the world title match to Adam Cole. He beat Killian Dane. What else is there for him to do? Nothing. There's nothing more for him to do. Get him on SmackDown, get him in a match with Lesnar at WrestleMania, and build new stars. Don't give us a match that we've seen 6 times already. I'm getting mad about it now. Unreal. Lesnar's creative control over WWE and Vince McMahon. Have you ever wondered what Brock Lesnar's creative control is over Vince McMahon and WWE? Well, Dave Meltzer went into detail about this. Lesnar is only losing when he decides he wants to. He can also axe a program before it even gets started. So there you go. Meltzer says this, and I quote, "Whether he's a babyface or a heel, Brock's only going so far for the team. Brock's not going to be like, when it comes to Brock and Vince, people hate this, but when it comes to Brock and Vince, Brock is the one who's calling the shots, not Vince. And Brock can get away with anything, and people hate hearing that. In the end, it's still Vince's company, but Brock isn't doing anything that Brock doesn't want to do. Every program, when he loses, he wants to lose. Every program, when he wins, he is deciding when he wins and when he loses. That's just how it is. You know, it's an interesting thing. There you go. Now, I know John Moxley talked about Brock Lesnar on Talk is Jericho, and he shit all over that WrestleMania match. That's Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar did what he wanted. He said what he wanted. He didn't want to do anything that Dean Ambrose wanted in that match. And that was all Brock Lesnar's choice. And it got approved. Brock says it, it shall come to be. There were a lot of good ideas in that match that Moxley said to Jericho on Talk is Jericho, but Lesnar nixed every single one of them and decided to have one of the worst matches on the entire show. So, Lesnar is now WWE Champion. Lesnar is now WWE Champion. Who do you think Lesnar's going to drop the title to? Who do you think Lesnar's going to want to work with most and put over as yet WWE Champion again in another reign? It's not going to be Cain Velasquez. Brock Lesnar more than likely is going to say, I'm winning this match, bitch. I'm getting my win back. I don't give a shit if it's in an octagon or a ring or on a fucking, or in a McDonald's somewhere. He's getting his win back. I don't know what that's going to make Brock Lesnar look like in the eyes of the fans. You know, people might shit on him. I fully expect people to make fun of him. Oh, look, he can't hack it in the UFC, so he had to come to WWE and beat a legit UFC fighter. It's coming. It's coming. It's not going to be one of those things that's going to be really relevant or important, but you know people are going to be snickering on social media about Brock Lesnar. So that's his creative control. That's his creative control, and that is the entire situation with Cain Velasquez. WWE is so desperate for attention that they're bringing in what probably is a 50%, probably less than that, Cain Velasquez with a knee injury and putting him in a ring with Brock Lesnar just to keep him away from AEW and get that headlining name on their card. Spotlight, mainstream attention, ESPN coverage, to feel like a real sport. And all you're doing is hindering the rest of your active roster from growing and getting any other opportunities. Now, yes, it's Crown Jewel, but WWE is putting more focus on this than they are actually doing the talent. And that's what bothers me. Don't neglect the talent anymore. I can only hope with this draft, and after everything is just labeled and where these men and women are supposed to be, and they're brand exclusive, I hope to God that these brands are treated as separate, and I hope everybody gets an opportunity. Because with the way WWE's been running things, with the wild card rule and the remnants still of the wild card rule, things are just running wild. So crazy that half of the roster still sits in catering. Half of the roster remains without an opportunity. You're not using key players that could be a huge factor to making your TV shows that much better. Yet you opt to use Tyson Fury, who hasn't had pro wrestling training ever, and using Cain Velasquez, who is a former UFC fighter who is operating at less than 50%. For what? Because you're desperate. And whatever you did on Friday and whatever you did on Monday was complete garbage. It was garbage. I hated every bit of it. I have absolutely zero interest in anything that they're doing with these two guys. I swear on everything that I own. I have absolutely no interest in anything these guys are doing in Saudi Arabia. And in fact, I am going to watch this shit with my sunglasses on. It's going to be like watching a fucking volcano erupt and destroy the fucking small innocent town below it. I'm going to sit there with my sunglasses on. I'm going to fucking sip my cold beverage, and I'm going to enjoy the fucking chaos and the fucking embarrassment that I'm sure it will be in Jeddah. And I'm sure you guys are going to be doing the same thing. Speaking of embarrassments, Hell in a Cell. We're going to talk Hell in a Cell in just a second. Hell in a Cell and the ending to this shit show pay-per-view on Sunday night was considered a disaster backstage. Really now? I can't wait to dive into this, but first, guys, I got to talk about one thing that is near and dear to my heart. I got to talk about Harry's. Harry's.com/scripts. Did you guys know that humans have been shaving for thousands of years? And the secret to a great shave? It hasn't changed all that much. The ancient Greeks didn't need flex balls or heated handles, and neither do you. That's why Harry's doesn't overcharge you to add gimmicky features to their razors. They focus on delivering what actually matters: sharp, durable blades at a fair price. Now, I love Harry's. I love the smooth glide across my sensitive skin. I love the fact that I've never, ever, ever cut myself using a Harry's blade. And I love the closeness of the shave. Every time I shave, I never feel a closer shave than I do with Harry's. Why Harry's, guys? That's my why. And I want you guys to think about Harry's being a return to the essential. Quality, durable blades at a fair price. They are just $2 per blade. That low price is also a great factor in all this. $2 per blade, you can't beat that. They've cut out the middleman, manufacturing blades in their German blade factory that's been honing precision blades for over a century, which means you get incredibly high-quality blades at factory direct prices. Harry's is also super convenient. Blade refills are delivered directly to your door on schedule with or without a subscription, and there's no risk for you trying them out. If you don't love your shave, you let them know and they will give you a full refund. Now, JD, this sounds great. What do I got to do? Well, you're going to go to harrys.com/script to get your trial set. And what you're going to get is the following: a razor handle with an easy grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Guys, it's just as simple as hitting that subscribe button down below. Go to harrys.com/script and start shaving better today. Once again, that's harrys.com/script. Oh, man. I'm still thinking back to Hell in a Cell, man. My God, how stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? Sunday night came, and at the end of Sunday night, we all wanted, universally, we all wanted the same thing. Bray Wyatt winning the WWE Universal Championship. By the end of Sunday night, we didn't get that. Instead, we got Hell in a Cell going off the air to the chance of refund. We got Hell in a Cell going off the air to chants of this is bullshit and restart the match. And we got Hell in a Cell going off the air with chants of AEW ringing out in the arena. As Seth Rollins was spitting up blood due to a mandible claw. Quote unquote spitting up blood, by the way. Nice blood capsule there, champ. It's amazing, man. It really is amazing. Then we got Monday Night Raw. We got Monday Night Raw. Neither Rollins or Wyatt show up on Monday Night Raw. And the reason why they didn't show up on Monday Night Raw is don't believe the reports. Rollins is not hurt. Wyatt is not hurt. They're not. I'm going to go over it in this report. I compiled this starting from fucking Sunday night, man. Wait till you hear this shit. None of them are hurt. None. Don't believe the bullshit. There are things in this life that I enjoy immensely. I love a good homemade Sunday afternoon Italian meal. I love a good homemade meatball. I love a beautiful pumpkin craft beer on a crisp fall evening. I love sitting in front of the fireplace with a nice glass of wine watching my favorite TV show. I love chocolate-covered pretzels. That's my favorite snack. Fun fact. Chocolate-covered pretzels. Gotta be dark chocolate, though, bro. Gotta be dark chocolate. I love coffee. I love coffee. Most of you guys might smoke a blunt in your downtime as a recreational activity. Some of you might do other things that I don't want to know of to calm yourself down. Me, just hand me a cup of Joe. Just hand me a cup of Joe. But one thing I think, out of everything, I find the greatest pleasure in is when the community universally shits all over WWE. The fact that WWE was crucified worse than Christ himself on Monday morning brought a smile to my face that I haven't emitted in months. I loved it. I loved it. It was just a thing of beauty. The fact that everybody just uttered the same sentiments as me. They released their inner JD from NY. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The fact that WWE had AEW chants rained down upon them at the end of Hell in a Cell was a thing of fucking beauty. I could not help myself but laugh. In the midst of all the anger, all I could do was laugh. Now, we all know that Sunday night was a disaster. Everybody in WWE thought it was a disaster. We all thought it was a disaster. It was just one of the worst endings that I think WWE could have ever decided upon. And everybody in WWE said that this was a disaster backstage. Now, Dave Meltzer discussed the WWE's internal reaction to all of this at Hell in a Cell during Wrestling Observer Radio this week. Now, Vince McMahon, it was reported that Vince McMahon knows he fucked up. But Meltzer went on to say that there are those backstage who considered it a disaster. Now, there were reports, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I would not be one to sit there and shun these reports. I could absolutely see this happening, that Vince laughed at the crowd reaction. And this is a reaction I could see Vince giving because, you know, it's not a reaction that is surprising to me because look at the quality of TV show that we get. If Vince gave a shit about his audience, we wouldn't be getting the quality of TV show that we're getting every single week. It is downright nauseating. It is fucking miserable. Monday Night Raw is the worst TV show in existence. It has been so bad for so long that they just don't give a shit anymore. So the fact that there are reports claiming that Vince McMahon laughed at the crowd, chanting AEW, refund, restart the match, laughing at their displeasure does not surprise me whatsoever. It does not surprise me at all. Now, Meltzer says this, and I quote, I haven't seen anyone defend it. I have not seen anyone defend it. But I have one that defended it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I haven't seen anyone defend it. I really haven't heard anything from anybody out there about the finish other than it's a disaster, and that's an understatement. You know, the sun will rise tomorrow. You know, they pissed off a lot of people. I don't know how bad it's going to be. I don't know what to say. The show sucked. End quote. Plain and simple by Mr. Meltzer, right? The sun will rise. Don't know what will happen. Clearly the ratings reflected that. Clearly the ratings on Monday Night Raw reflected that. You don't go from a 2.8 to a 2.2 and not really cite Sunday night for being a big reason why people didn't give a shit about what you did on Monday Night Raw. Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp reports that various superstars backstage were taken aback by the Hell in a Cell finish. One commented to Sean Ross Sapp saying, and I quote, none of us even know what to say. End quote. Another superstar reportedly said that they can get behind the blood coming out of Rollins' mouth at the end of the night. They could not get behind the finish or even the idea behind this match in the first place. Look at that, folks. You know, it's funny. It's funny how talent backstage can tell Sean Ross Sapp this, but they don't have any balls at all to tell an agent, a producer, Kevin Dunn, Michael P.S. Hayes, Vince McMahon himself, Bruce Pritchard, Paul Heyman. None of them have balls to go and walk up to them and say, you know what, guys? You know, I'm looking from an outsider's perspective looking in, and I've been here for a while, and I know the history of the Hell in a Cell, and I think that this ending is just bullshit. Now, maybe they weren't filled in on the ending, but even after the fact, if you did not speak your mind on this, you are just as much to blame as anybody. And this is not the only situation where voices need to be expressed and concerns need to be raised. I'm sorry. You need to start speaking about what is right and what is wrong in this company. When you see it and when you know it's about to come, say something. Don't let it get to this point ever again. And I keep pointing at this fucking picture above me. Foley and The Undertaker, which I'll talk about in a second because that right there, keep in mind the situation that happened in that match. Keep in mind. Now, again, I don't know why the match didn't happen, or I don't know why the match happened anyway this soon. We all could have waited on this. It was too early to put him in a situation, right? Bray Wyatt in a Hell in a Cell. If you weren't going to win, or if you weren't going to book him to win this match, why put him in this match in the first place? You put him in this match, and you knew. You had to know you weren't giving him the title. So why put him in the match in the first place? Because you put him in there, you can't job him out, you can't have him lose. If you can't have him win the title, then you're jeopardizing the Hell in a Cell. So you booked yourself pretty much into a fuck finish. You booked yourself into a corner where you left yourself no outs but to do what you did. But alas, they did have an out, and they refused to take it. But the BS finish in a cell, come on. That needs to be the match that has the ultimate finality. But the Fiend's first match with Rollins was in a cell. So that was flawed right out of the gate, and then taking 15 curb stomps, also, that was bizarre. It was really bizarre. That's the best way I can describe it. This was a quote directly from somebody backstage in WWE. Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp also report that at least one story they've heard says that Vince McMahon was initially laughing off the reaction. However, that was later disputed by a high-level source. It was reported that Vince McMahon took the fan reaction very seriously and that McMahon is not oblivious. He knows that people didn't accept the finish, but those people have agendas or are trying to protect themselves from their involvement. End quote. Vince McMahon reportedly knew that he messed up with the booking of the main event. Vince was, however, particular about the level of offense involved, but he knew he messed up, according to another name directly involved with Vince McMahon. This is what was reported to Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select. In an act of storyline damage control, this is where WWE tries to defend the fucking bullshit that Vince McMahon caused on Sunday night, which I don't stand for. You don't own up to your mistakes. And you will continue making these mistakes because whether Vince McMahon shit on the fans or not and laughed the fans off, internally, he took it very serious. Where? Where did he take it serious? Did he show how serious he was by putting on a good show Monday night? Because Monday Night Raw was just as bad as the fucking pay-per-view. Serious? If he cared, then we would have gotten a rematch on Monday night with the right outcome in that arena with Bray Wyatt winning the Universal Championship, and we didn't get it. We didn't get it. I fucking hate this company because they know that they're fucking headed off a cliff and they just gingerly drive, ha 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 ha, yeah, we're going to go off the cliff and then we're going to get the backlash and then we're going to say online that we justified the outcome by whatever stupid excuse that we use. This is the WWE. This is the way that they operate. Storyline control damage. This is what they said in an official explanation about why the referee called the match off with Rollins and Wyatt for the Universal title inside Hell in a Cell. And I quote, clearly sensing that a line was about to be crossed, the referee tried to stop Rollins from using the sledgehammer. But this is from WWE.com, by the way, so if the verbiage is a little fucking cringe for you, you know why. But the Beast Slayer did it anyway, bringing the tool straight down on the whole pile, causing the ref to wave off the match while a crew of medics tended to Wyatt. Rollins, who was clearly on the verge of madness, made the mistake of straddling his fallen foe and quickly found himself ensnared in the mandible claw as Wyatt rose up from his back and continued his attack. Rollins was helpless to respond as Wyatt took him outside the ring, exposing the arena floor by tearing up the mat. It became clear that the Universal Championship was the last thing on Wyatt's mind. Wyatt smashed Rollins face first into the arena floor with Sister Abigail and applied the mandible claw once again. This time the writhing Rollins. I wish they'd write him off fucking TV. The writhing Rollins was only spared by the signature shrieks that preceded Wyatt's exit. Whoever wrote this is a little fucking fucked up. Hell in a Cell did not end with the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, as Universal Champion, but clearly he'd gotten what he came for all the same. End quote. What did he come for? He came to show himself in front of a large audience, not winning the Universal Championship? He was met with AEW chants. What the fuck did he get? He got what? He got nothing. If he didn't walk home with the title, he's a fucking loser. Sometime following WWE's Hell in a Cell event, WWE and their Twitter account put out a tweet that was very quickly deleted. Some fans caught a screen capture of the announcement, and it's making the rounds in the YWC. There you see it right there. The tweet announced a match between Rollins and The Fiend for the Survivor Series on November 24th, which will be a rematch for the Universal Championship. There was no stipulation laid down for this match, therefore, those two could be moving from a Hell in a Cell match to a regular singles match. Perhaps we'll actually have a winner this time. Well, Vince, so you make The Fiend's first match inside a Hell in a Cell, and then you have him not win the title, and you call the match off in a bullshit way. Then you want to book them in a regular match to proceed a match that should be the end-all, be-all to a feud in this situation. So, what WWE pretty much did here is they killed the entire concept of the finality of a feud. They killed the entire concept of Hell in a Cell, and they don't give a shit about it. They don't give a flying fuck about what they did. This was written on WWE.com, and this explained that Wyatt came for something and he got it. What the fuck did he get? What did he get? I don't get it. He wanted... Oh my God. I don't even know. I don't even give a shit to explain this anymore. What did he come for? He came to bring the past. He came to bring the past back to Rollins and make him believe that the past always comes back to haunt him. I don't give a shit about that. I don't. You're telling a story that the majority of the audience is listening to. It's going right over their fucking head. All we knew universally as a fucking crowd, as an audience, is that Wyatt needs to win the Universal Championship. That's all anybody wanted to do. And that's all anybody needed to know. You're in there with the Fiend. You're in there with the Universal Champion. He walks in as challenger. He walks out as Universal Champion. You don't put him in this match unless you are ready to commit to the gimmick and move him on as the man on Monday Night Raw. And they did not do that. Now you made Seth Rollins into a fucking scapegoat. Now you made him into the biggest heel in WWE. I don't know what is to come for Seth Rollins, but all I know is that man is fucking vilified now. He will never, ever recover from this. Ever! He is now Roman Reigns. I mentioned this time and time again. He is on par with Roman Reigns, the 2018-2019 version of Roman Reigns, and that's not someone that you want to be compared to. WWE gave you this bullshit excuse, and this was nothing more than, like I said, bullshit. Now, the tweet came, and they deleted it. It's unknown why WWE would post something like this and then delete it. They could have changed their minds or simply plan on announcing it later on. Either way, we could be getting a round 2 of The Fiend and Seth Rollins at Survivor Series. Now, even Rollins had to know. I don't know what he's thinking. He came out and justified this bullshit. You know, burn it down. I have to overcome and prevail something, and that means more than just doing what I do in the ring, meaning that he's got to overcome and prevail from all the negativity from the fans. Bro, shut the fuck up. Seriously, shut your fucking mouth. You are the biggest loser on the active roster. You are a fucking pussy. All I know is, if I am fucking Seth Rollins, and I get this bullshit handed to me by Vince McMahon, and you know anything about the legacy of the fucking match that you were in, and you look at the fucking script and see, well, we're gonna end this by referee stoppage. Do you know how that makes you and Bray Wyatt pale in comparison to the fucking past? Are you stupid? Really? Do you have any fucking balls in between your legs? Is it really true that Becky Lynch has bigger balls than you? I look at that script and I'm going right to Vince McMahon. No, boss, this don't work. I can't do this. I'd fight him on that tooth and nail. You want to take the fucking title off me? Take it off me, but do it right. Do it right. Nobody said a goddamn fucking word. Nobody. Even Paul Heyman. This is why people were claiming, JD, don't blame Paul Heyman. I thought you were better than that. Guys, you gotta understand that if Paul Heyman is the executive director of Monday Night Raw, and this is a championship that is headlining his show, Paul Heyman should have spoken up. If Paul Heyman gave a shit about anything regarding this match, and Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins, being that they're both Paul Heyman guys, he would have spoken up about this outcome to Vince McMahon and said, Vince, this doesn't work. What are you doing? And it goes all the way back to what I said. That Paul Heyman is nothing more than a fucking figurehead in place to take the blame. For when things go wrong, we're going to blame Paul Heyman and not Vince McMahon. Even though we are still blaming Vince McMahon Paul Heyman is standing there like a fucking puppet. He don't have a mouth when he's working with Vince McMahon. He might have an idea here or there, but Vince is the ultimate final decision. Paul Heyman is there to do what exactly? I don't understand his involvement. And this goes back to what I said. Paul Heyman's going to be running these shows to mirror Vince McMahon. He's not going to deviate away from what Monday Night Raw is and has been, because Vince McMahon is putting him in place and trusting him with this show, because Vince McMahon knows that he's brainwashed Paul Heyman and taught Paul Heyman to run this show the way he wants, and nothing's going to change. Why wouldn't you blame Paul Heyman? Of course I blame everybody, because you didn't speak the fuck up. How could you go and watch something burn when you know it's fucking wrong? Seth Rollins' phrase, his catchphrase, never meant more than it did on Sunday night. Burn it down? You did more than burn it down. Unreal. Bray Wyatt. Instead of going to Vince McMahon and said, boss, you fucked up. You fucked up. Bray Wyatt was busy liking browser tweets about satisfying finishes and then showing up on Raw to attack Cesaro. Bray Wyatt's got a concussion, I heard. Bray Wyatt is injured, I heard. If he's on Monday Night Raw attacking Cesaro, WWE's not going to put Bray Wyatt in a situation knowing that he's got a fucking concussion coming out of Hell in a Cell. If he did, he wouldn't have been on the show. And what is it with showing Bray Wyatt in the dark match segment after Monday Night Raw goes off the air every single week? Do you know how you overexpose? Keep the fucking character away from a goddamn camera. Did you ever see The Undertaker come out in a dark match? No. Nothing is special anymore. Nothing. Why? Why? Why do you go about treating things like they are just ordinary things? Do you think anything that this company has is special? Of course not. Bray Wyatt's getting too big, so WWE's going to do everything in their fucking power to suppress that. He's getting too big, we got to pull him down. Getting too big again, we got to pull him down. Got to overexpose him. Got to make people dislike him. He's going to be a babyface now. You got to make him hated. Watch. It's coming. Bray Wyatt attacks Cesaro. Seth Rollins finally broke his silence on Twitter Tuesday and responded to fan criticism of the god-awful finish to Hell in a Cell by saying, and I quote, "Survive and prevail is bigger than just what happens in between the ropes." Oh, like you didn't deserve anything that happened there. Mr. Big Shot, you want to be the leader of the fucking brand and the leader of the show, right? Open your fucking mouth. Survive and prevail is bigger than just what happens in between the ropes. Question everything. You certainly didn't question a fucking thing, Mr. Rollins. Even yourself. And fight your heart out every step of the way. And then he ends with this. Hashtag Seth Rollins is not cool. That may have been the smartest thing he said all fucking year on social media. It's very interesting how WWE seemed to not mention any of this on Monday Night Raw. Not one fucking thing about the Universal title. They showed a video package of the match, and they didn't mention anything about the fucking bullshit that ensued afterwards. What were they going to do? Were they going to fucking acknowledge all their bullshit chants and the fact that people were unhappy? How did they retaliate? They gave you a shit Monday Night Raw. Now, the referee that refereed that match, he was actually Rod Zapata. He was on WWE The Bump. This is how WWE gets away with suppressing it. Didn't come from their WWE main Twitter account. It didn't come from WWE Universe Twitter account. It didn't come from their Instagram. It didn't come from their Facebook. It didn't come from a certain superstar. The Bump. I never heard of The Bump until this week. And I seen it retweeted by somebody. And I seen what was said on this show with Caleb Braxton. Now, the match, instead of being a DQ, it ended in a referee stoppage. So, making the Fiend in this entire situation, he looked weak. Rollins and his finisher is dead. Nothing good came out of this. So, In an attempt to, again, justify this situation, the referee explained why he decided to call the match off. Speaking on WWE The Bump, Rod Zapata said the following about his decision on Hell in a Cell Sunday night. He says, and I quote, "With Bray motionless and Seth clearly doing whatever it was going to take to win that match, I had to think of the competitor's safety, and at that moment, I did what I thought was best." End quote. So, folks, what this means is Vince McMahon is getting the heat for this. Monday Night Raw Creative is getting the heat for this. So Vince, in typical Vince McMahon fashion, is sending Rod Zapata out there. And they're not really putting him in the line of fire. They're putting him in a fire-like situation, and he's dipping his fucking toe in the fire. So he's getting heat for it, but he's not burning his fucking whole foot off. He's putting this guy in a moment, in this situation, to pretty much act as if he made the decision when we all know it was Vince McMahon. Yes, Rod Zapata stopped the fucking match because he was upset about what was happening in that moment, and he was looking out for Bray's safety. Really now? Were you looking out for fucking Mick Foley's safety when he fucking stretched himself away, or got stretched away, and then he fucking climbed the cell holding his fucking arm? And a tooth up his goddamn fucking nose? Did you stop him from climbing the goddamn cage? So what are you telling me? That WWE in 2019 has pussified itself. That's what you're telling me. What you're telling me is you made this decision and you're taking the bullet for Vince McMahon because you're being a good little puppet. That's what you're telling me. Awful. Absolutely awful. Now, I am not a fan of any referee stopping anything inside the Hell in a Cell. If you are in agreement with the referee stopping a fucking match inside that fucking cage, you are part of the problem. You are part of the problem. Now, it's one of those things where if you don't want it to get that gruesome, then don't book it. Don't book it. It's only going to get worse, folks. It's only going to get worse. You're going to hate this more than you did on Sunday night when you hear this next thing. Vince McMahon has to go. Vince McMahon has to go. Vince McMahon's original idea for the Hell in a Cell match. The Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that Vince McMahon knew the entire time that he was not putting the title on Bray Wyatt, and he wasn't beating him this early in his run as The Fiend either. The original idea that Vince McMahon had for this controversial match had nothing to do with a sledgehammer. It was unclear why they went in this direction, but the first idea was to apparently toss Bray Wyatt off of the Hell in a Cell structure. The original idea for the finish was that Wyatt would take a gimmicked bump off the top of the cage and would be unable to continue the match, and then the match would be stopped. Then, after it was stopped, he would pop up like The Undertaker and take Rollins out with the mandible claw. Of course, WWE decided against throwing The Fiend off the top of the cell. Instead, the referee called the match off the way that he did on Sunday night. I just don't know. I don't know what to say. Why, on God's green, did you not go with this idea? Do you realize that if you went with this idea, that and what did I talk about on Sunday night? This company and the people involved in every aspect of a match like this do not want to create a memorable moment. This picture that I showed you on the Hell in a Cell review, the one where Foley and The Undertaker are on top of Hell in a Cell, and their weight alone was caving in one of the ceiling panels before Foley got tossed off the Hell in a Cell. WWE does not want to create an epic moment anymore. Rollins doesn't want to create an epic moment. Wyatt doesn't want to create an epic moment. They all go through the rhythms, and they all go through with Vince McMahon's vision. Yes, 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 yes. They yes him to death. Yes, 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 boss. Yes, yes, yes. Let me suck your dick. Yes, yes, yes. Let me kiss your ass. You know? Nobody wants to create an epic moment anymore. And I have something about Sasha Banks that I'll let you guys in on, just to give you a sense of where I'm going with this. WWE doesn't want to create an epic moment, and here they are with this idea, and it could have saved the entire pay-per-view. That idea alone Because the pay-per-view up until that point was not bad. It was not bad. In fact, it was actually pretty decent. I was enjoying myself up until that point. The middle of the card looked like a fucking Monday Night Raw, but the first match with Sasha and Becky, and then that tag team match, that Texas Tornado match with Roman Bryan, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper. It was a great tag team match. I'm like 2 matches in. I'm enjoying myself here. This is off to a good start. Then it started to get Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live-esque. Then we had this thing. Then we had this match. And the only thing people are talking about now is the ending. The ending was so bad and the ending was so shit on that people are not talking about how great of a match Sasha and Becky were. It's unfair to those 2 women that they were overshadowed by shitty creative. They were overshadowed by having the best women's match of the entire year in WWE main roster by a shitty creative outcome. How fucking fair is that? That's all people are talking about. Meanwhile, if they went with this ending, yes, it would have overshadowed anything else that happened on the show, and people would be talking about, oh my God, Wyatt, he took a Mick Foley-like bump. But it wouldn't be in the same vein as where we are now. It would have made Hell in a Cell the best pay-per-view of the entire year for WWE main roster. You went from having the best pay-per-view all year for your main roster to the worst all year because of one creative indecision. Vince McMahon is absolutely out of his fucking mind. Now, I don't know what happened. We don't have any idea what happened here. Maybe Vince nixed it because he didn't want to do it. Maybe he was thinking about the safety of both Rollins and Wyatt. But then again, you think back to Shane McMahon, and the last time Shane McMahon was in a Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker, he takes a 25-foot plunge down through a gimmicked table. So why would you nix this idea now, yet have your own son go out there and okay your own son to take a dive off the Hell in a Cell by doing a fucking elbow drop? He wasn't even tossed. He jumped off on his own. Why? What sense does that make? So, thinking Vince is caring about the well-being of his guys when he let his son do it goes right out the window. You can't tell me or use that as an excuse. Vince let his own fucking son do it, so why wouldn't he let Bray Wyatt take a plunge off the cell to save this match and give us the ending that we all deserved? If that ended the way it was originally planned for, then stopping the match, yes, it would pale in comparison. It would make Bray Wyatt look like, a pussy by having the match stopped. It would actually make Seth Rollins look fucking cool. You could have enhanced Seth Rollins being cool. You could have. But then you booked Wyatt to jump off the cell, or be thrown off the cell rather, and then be gurneyed out and pop up like The Undertaker and pretend like nothing ever happened. That would have been fucking fantastic. That would have saved the entire show. I don't know how you went about thinking this and then nix it. I don't have an explanation for it. It's like Vince. It's truly like Vince wanted to sabotage his own show. He wanted to sabotage his own product. And he wanted to sabotage both Wyatt and Rollins in that moment. There is no way you could sit there and nix this and then go with what you went with and think that was the right decision. I really do wonder if Rollins and Wyatt were filled in on this original ending. I would love to know what their decision was. Did Wyatt not want to take the bump? Did anybody agree to this? Did they agree to it and then Vince McMahon said, no, we're going to go with this one? I don't know. We don't have all the details. But you can't tell me that they're looking out for the safety of their fucking performers. Because they could gimmick that fucking table. They could do whatever they got to do to protect Bray Wyatt in that situation. That would have been a visual of the year. That would have been so great. That's what the fucking match is made for. That is what the structure is made for. You can't use that as an excuse because of allowing Shane McMahon to go and do something equally as worse on the Hell in a Cell. Jumping down, doing an elbow drop, missing, going through a table at WrestleMania. Can't use it. That was the original idea. How much more do you hate it now that you know that after what we've seen on Sunday night? Awful. Absolutely fucking awful. And now if the match stopped If truly, the referee wanted to stop the match after that, that would have been all the explanation you needed. The guy got tossed off the cage. Let me stop this fucking thing. Couple of curb stomps, he gets up. Rollins goes up the cage. The Fiend follows him up. Curb stomp on the cage, throw him off. Simple. If the referee wanted to stop it then, I would have been okay with it. I am not okay with them stopping the match the way that they did. I'm not. Because you would have broke a bunch of rules in that situation. You got to remain in the cage. Can't do nothing. If you're on top of the cage. I can't make a count up there. I have to stop the match just based on the fucking grounds that you're outside the cage. You went up, you flew off. There's nothing I can do. I have to get this guy out of here. He could be fucking dead. If the referee stopped the match and this all went down as originally planned, we wouldn't have had an issue with it. We wouldn't have had an issue. Oh my God, this company sucks so bad. Wyatt apparently suffered a concussion at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. No, he didn't. Because he was attacking Cesaro on Monday Night Raw in the dark match segment after the show went off the air. Don't believe the reports. They said Rollins suffered an injury. No, he didn't. He's fighting Roman Reigns on SmackDown Live. And the winner of that match gets the number 1 draft pick in the draft. So he's not hurt. Bray Wyatt was kept off of the show to protect him. Now, he's the babyface in all this. I don't think he wouldn't have gotten a reaction of boo. Rollins was kept off the show, not because he was hurt, because they wanted to protect him, because right now he is the biggest asshole. He's the biggest heel. And not by design. They fucked up. They made him into the biggest heel in the company. That's why he wasn't on Monday Night Raw. Don't believe any other reports. Rollins did not show up on camera on Monday night because he would have been booed out of the fucking building. Wyatt wasn't hurt either. He's got no concussion. They kept them off the show because of reasons of what happened on Sunday night. Finally, guys, Sasha Banks, injury following Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell. Man, this has got me so heated, man. I fucking hate this company. I really do. This is the last thing we're talking about here. Sasha Banks. There is no word on the severity of Banks' current injury. PW Insider is reporting that she suffered a back injury. I'll talk about that in a second, but Banks did not appear on Raw this Monday, and it's uncertain when she will be back in action. She's been pulled from all in-ring action following Hell in a Cell. The word making the rounds is that she suffered a back injury in her match with Becky Lynch. However, the nature of Sasha Banks' injury is more interesting, as WWE and Meltzer's sources are currently unwilling to disclose what the injury is. This led many to believe that Banks may have suffered a concussion during the match, as WWE is generally very keen on hushing that sort of thing. But Banks has reportedly come out to say that this is not the case. WWE is generally pretty quick to disclose the nature of injuries, so this will leave fans of Sasha Banks a bit concerned, so she may be out of action for some time. Now, she proved once again that she is an asset to the women's division. Not only the women's division, but WWE in general. She had the best match of the entire night, the best women's match of the year with Becky Lynch. Not once, but twice! When you look at the best women's matches on the main roster, it's going to be Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks at Clash of Champions, and it's going to be Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks inside Hell in a Cell. So, right now, after the loss to Becky Lynch, we don't know when she's coming back, and one theory is that she and best friend Bayley could be headed back to NXT. And if that's the case, they may make a surprise return when Triple H seems fit to have them show up and have that be the best situation possible for them. Now, I have sources. I'm not telling you who my sources are because I respect people's anonymous whereabouts, you know. I don't want to tell you guys who I know. It wouldn't be right of me. But I have sources. I know people who know people who know people. I've heard things from people who know things and relayed this back to me. Sasha Banks doesn't have a back injury. Sasha Banks, from what I heard, is feared to have a hip injury. Now, it happened in the very last spot of the match with Sasha and Becky and the steel chairs. At the end of that match, the pile of steel chairs, that's where it happened. Sasha Banks, from what I was told, could not walk. She could not stand. So they brought her to the hospital immediately after the match was over. She went to the hospital, and she got checked out. I have not heard word about what was happening after that. It's always a back injury with Sasha, because Sasha is notoriously always hurting her back. That's always the case. Oh, Sasha's got a back injury. Oh, Sasha's got a back injury. Oh, Sasha's got a back injury. That's not the case. And for WWE to not really reveal what is going on with this situation, or they're unwilling to disclose what the injury is, don't you think that Sasha Banks doesn't want to disclose what the injury is? Sasha Banks has always been a very private person. She's always loved and wanted people to respect her privacy. She wants you to respect her privacy in this situation. So why would this be any different? It's none of your business why Sasha Banks is out. It's none of our business why Sasha Banks is out. All you should be concerned with is that she put on a great match, she entertained you, she lived up to the fucking motto of what Hell in a Cell should be, and now she is banged up a little bit. When she gets back to being 100%, then she'll be back. But who's to say this is WWE's fault? They're keeping you in the dark about this. They're unwilling to disclose the nature of the injury. What if it's Sasha Banks requesting WWE to not reveal any information? Who gives a shit? It's not out of the realm of possibility that Sasha Banks says, you know what? It's none of your business. WWE, please don't say anything about my injury. I'll be back when I'm back. Let me get better. Let me go heal up. Let me go rest. Give me a fucking break, man. It was a hip injury, not a back injury. A hip injury. And this comes from a very credible source. Believe me. Now, one thing that I also heard from my source, and I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch wanted to go a step further inside Hell in a Cell, and WWE did not allow them to. You know, and it follows the theme of the report that I just mentioned, that Vince didn't want Bray Wyatt to take the plunge off the Hell in a Cell. Whatever the case may be. Sasha and Becky, more so Sasha, they want to go out there and make a memory. That's why I love that woman so much. She has it up here that everything I do has to be the fucking best. She wants to go out there and make a memory. She wants to go out there and make a moment. She wants to go out there and fucking just give you something to be talking about 15, 20 years from now. I could be showing my kids, look at what Sasha Banks did. You know, I could have a little girl of my own, and I could show her what Sasha Banks did. Look at what Sasha Banks did in this Hell in a Cell, man. She wants to make a memory for moments like that. And that's why I appreciate what she does so much. Same thing with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch went in there and she held nothing back, man. Becky is just as tough as anybody. And when she's put in that situation, she is one of the best that they have. But I heard from my source that Becky and Sasha both collectively wanted to use thumbtacks in that match, and WWE nixed the idea. Now, that might have been a little bit over the top. That would have been definitely something different for the women to do, but WWE nixed that, and they still delivered a great match anyway. They did what they could, and they made the most out of what they had. It's very difficult to have so many of these matches and be different, and they went in there, and they were different. We've seen things that we never seen before inside a Hell in a Cell. If you can't appreciate that, then I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, man. So Sasha and Becky lived up to giving you a Hell in a Cell with a true meaning of what it feels like to be a Hell in a Cell. And that's all we can really say. We have to appreciate and respect what they did in that cell. Sasha, it's not so much WWE. It's more than likely Sasha not willing to disclose the injury and what the nature of it is, because it's none of your business. She wants to remain private. She will be back when she's back. And there's a draft. Who knows if she's coming back to Monday Night Raw. She might be on SmackDown Live. We'll see what happens. But guys, I'm getting out of here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Off the Script. Ton of shit packed into this episode. Friday and Saturday, we got SmackDown, Off the Script, and then Sunday we got Off the Script. Man, it's going to be a big weekend. So I hope you guys are with me through it all. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. We are here every single weekend with the flagship podcast right here on Off the Script. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed down in the description. harrys.com/script for your $13 value trial set. And make sure you guys check out the Ridge, ridge.com/script with your code SCRIPT at checkout to save 10% off. Guys, I will be back tomorrow. We're going to go over the rest of the news this weekend. And I will see you right back here on part 2 to round out your weekend on Off the Script. Have a great Saturday, and I'll see you right back here on Sunday morning for part 2 of Off the Script.